Hi everybody, this is Dawn Marie with Creative DME Designs, and this is my fabric journal. Dear Julie had us doing journal and pages out of fabric this time. And about a year ago, I had made a slow stitch journal to learn how to do mending, which is actually there's a Japanese version, but I just got this one because it went on sale on Amazon. But yeah, so, and I didn't like the little version. It was too small and I couldn't get anything in a hoop on it. So this was my slow stitch journal. And I actually had quite a few things in it already made. And I would, while I was watching TV or whatever, would try to do something, even if it was something small. One, to keep up my hands, to keep me be able to do small things. So this has turned into this. I did it a little bit differently, I think, than what Julie wanted, but I really think I'm going to like this. I'm going to do a really quick flip through right now to show you the different parts, and then I'm going to actually take it off the rings and show you each part separately. So this is the cover, and I made a pocket to hold my rings. And if anybody's looking for a ring really small like this right now in the dollar area of Target, they have some cross stitch and other thread kind of crafting. This right here is from a vintage leather glove. This is from a table runner. This right here is from, this piece back here is from the waistband of a skirt that I absolutely loved. One of the things we had to do was make flowers, so I made it out of, actually this one's out of jersey. We also had to make a tassel. This right here is from one of Julie's digital kits. So I will go through each one of these when I can get them flat. So there's still the cover. This is my white practice cloth. This section right here is for chicken scratch embroidery. And like I said, I will go through each one of these individually. This right here is for boro or sashiko or mending repairs, visual repairs. This one doesn't have a name on it. Well, it does back here. Crazy quilt stitching, and what I've done on this you'll see in a little bit. I didn't have to punch holes in any of these because I found either fabric that had these things on it. The other reason why I sort of did it this way is I want to be able to grab this whole thing in order to be able to find anything that I'm working on, but I also want to be able to have them separate so I can take a separate section downstairs each time. This one is a paint and stitching. And this one is off-white practice cloth, which actually has a bigger thing on it. And there's, we had to have 50 pages. And if you count all the extra cloth I put in these, the two, it comes up to 50 pages. And then this is the back. And this, I made it as a flip so that I could do some embroidery on this, almost like doing a crazy quilt. And then eventually I will glue it down once I finish embroidering that. So what I'm going to do now is take each one of these out or take the rings out. I'll just take each one of these out and we'll go through each one separately. Oh, and on the very back, I hand stitched this onto a piece of the orange. My two favorite colors are purple and orange, which really are a strange combination, but I really love the back cover of this. And these were some more flowers we had to make. And I'll be able to tell you things about each thing in these. Okay, the cover. Once again, I said I put these on. I did make name tags for each thing. Okay. Turn it over. This also is going to be able to be stitched on, and then if I find something that I like that I've stitched on it, I'll be able to cut it off and actually add more to it as I go, so that I'll be able to keep using this and use some of the pieces in junk journaling. Just making sure you're in my viewer here. Yeah. Okay. So I put this collar on because if I wanted to add something heavy or needed to put something in here, it could sort of hold it closed. There's this flip up, that flip up. This is sort of a flip up and a flip over all in the same thing. This is from a purple men's shirt. What I did for my extra things is that I made tags and stuff, but I actually put some cloth that you can do your embroidery on, and I put two pieces of cardboard between two pieces of cardboard which were cut like a frame. So now I have all these little things that I can do something on and then send them out as or put them in my journaling. So that's one of them. I'm not going to try to get them back in. This is another one. I love this one. And I did do an antique way of putting ribbon through holes, and you can see I already have holes started because I actually am going to do some embroidery on this one. I actually have something for somebody in mind for this one right here. So we have the back pocket of the t-shirt, of the shirt, and then I have the actual pocket. Flips up on those so I can use those, and then for the front and the back I did use the buttonholes to put the things through. Let's see. This right here is vintage from a old table runner t-shirt. This orange fabric right here I have had for eons. I believe it even may have come from my Mimi's stash. And then all of the fabric that you're seeing that you would do cross stitch on, I had some, and then I went to the thrift store the other day, and because I was basically taking all of it, they happily gave me a discount. So I love when I do stuff like that. So that's the cover. This one is white cloth, practice cloth. This can be for cross stitch or any other stitching things, except for doing the mending stitches, because those you need jeans or sweater material. We had to make something out of envelopes, and I found 3 tiny envelopes, put them together, and these are some more of the little things that I made up. Once again, I can cross stitch or do something on that and send it out. I like this one because it's like a tag and it says practice on it. This is fabric that you would find on a couch or something. I had actually just gone to the thrift store and gotten a whole bunch of samples when this whole started. The big purple and white check, the big orange and white check, And these little green ones are all for men's shirts. You can see it's got little things, and actually there's 6 in here because I kept them open. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one I think is really cute too. I have had this piece right here for a really long time. I've always loved it, but it had some stains on it, but I don't think it really matters. And then I did put it on this that can be made into something. I put one of my flowers there. This right here, when I open it, you'll see holds in the paper, so I can, the fabric, so I can take it out and work on it. So it's almost more like a travel journal. This is part of my, out of some of the different fabrics, I made a roll of blocks of fabric. This is the ones that all had different ends, different sizes, because I made one that was exactly the same and then one that had a variety of lengths. And so there, this was one of the last ones I made, and I didn't add anything extra to it, because this will probably be one that I would like travel with, so I made it smaller. So it has that on the front that I can put things in. See, things just keep flying out. On the back, I have a flip up. This, I can write things there if I want. This pink fabric right here, it actually is fabric, but what I did is I had some of this, and you'll see some of the pink in it. This right here is to make a hat out of. It's got a glue embedded in it, and when you get it wet, pretty much anything you put towards it sticks. So when I did my transfer with gel medium, all of the paper that came off of it was in water. So I dumped some of the threads that I was using too in there, and then ran it through this, and it made it gave it a place to stick to, and I made my own paper. But I did make them into little tiny pieces because you really couldn't write on them because they're pretty thick. But you can still see some of the little pieces right there. So this is also a Dear Julie that I put on the silk. It didn't come out very good, but I don't care. It's just something there that if I want to, I can either use or I can add to it. This is another one of my tags with a place to work on the inside. And this is a pocket. I love this red fabric. That also was one of the samples. And this one I put creative on the top, which was working with a stamp. That once again is that quote-unquote fabric, paper fabric that I made up. And this was actually a card that I just cut the center out of. Okay. Sorry if you get my head in here, guys. I have to lean forward. This right here is my chicken scratch embroidery. Chicken scratch embroidery is always done on checked fabric. This right here is from the purple and white checked fabric shirt, and it is the pocket that belongs there. And what I've done here is safety pin was also one of the printables from Dear Julie, and I put 2 little pieces of felt in here that I had stenciled on with safety pins on it. This is also a double pocket. This was one of the things I made up, and this one right here, even though the it's on paper, I still think that I can do stitches here, and I still might be able to do some, through the paper because it's not that thick, and also be able to use this in the future. And then in the very back, these are all stuck down, so it sort of looks like something's in there. And this right here, Chic checks you can cross stitch was actually a file I found on a chicken scratch embroidery website that you were allowed to print and use. Another one that I made that I can use, but this one right here is from an envelope that already had one window in it, so I just cut out the back, and it's actually a planter's envelope. That I know came from Target, the dollar area. Oh, and these right here are all Dear Julie things too. I have a cute little pocket here that opens. And that was a cross stitch pattern. Another little card. This is a tiny little pocket where I put some of the ends that I had, just in case I needed to stick a needle or find some place. Oh, these were actually from the chicken scratch thing that I printed, and this is how you do it right here. This is a weird tuck that I have. This is an actual pocket, and once again I put a thing that can be used again. This is an embroidery, but this is more of a tuck, which is the other side of that page. And what I have in it, of course this is probably going to go someplace else, is I made myself a needle case, and I made a tiny little place to put your needle threader, and then I have some needles in here. I do have other needles, of course, that I used in this project that actually go in here, but I haven't put them in yet. So that's my little tiny needle book for the whole thing. We had to make a big envelope. Once again, I wanted to be able to remove things to be able to stitch on them. So what I've done here is, this was from the download that I got about chicken scratch embroidery, and I really liked the graphic on it, so I put it actually on a vintage handkerchief. This was the other side, so I made this whole section right here actually into an envelope. This is a vintage shoe tie, and I just, wound those through. This I made into a weaving thing. I used some of my extra stuff that I had left over, and put it through the felt that I had stenciled on. And this is a whole handful of the purple and the orange in order to practice on. And on the back of this, this was the embroidery on gingham apron. I just glued that whole thing down rather than having to deal with it for anything. But I did use the little orange pocket. So I put the pocket there. Once again, another one. This one I had taken what I had stenciled and turned it over onto another piece of fabric, so it made the reverse of this. And I really liked that, so I used that one. And then this has a flip up with some paper in here if you wanted to make a jot, jot something down. When you open this one up, I made a place that you could put a pen. And then, because a lot of this, you have to use, what you do when you do this stitch is that you put cross stitch in certain side pieces over the actual fabric. So I found this paper, I believe it's wallpaper, that matches it, so I'll actually be able to make my own patterns on this and then transfer it to the fabric. Okay, this is my Borrow and Sashiko book. This is a pocket. I did put, this came with one of some of the pages I found at the thrift store. So you're always looking on how to do letters. So I figured I'd just tuck those in there. I was trying to figure out a way to use them, but I just ended up putting them in there. As you can see with this, I did end up putting paper ring holders, and if they don't keep up, I do have a little bit of leather left over from the gloves that I'm thinking I might make my own holders with those. I made a little closure from one of these, and this fabric, which you'll be able to see more. I've had this piece for a very long time. Actually, it was in something that I pulled out the other day that I had in high school, but I think I had it from before. I think it just got stuck in that box. This is a tag, and I just put it on with a paper clip. Visible mending, this is a tuck spot. So what I did with this fabric, this is fabric from a Japanese sari. Probably one of their basic everyday ones because it is cotton. I figured out a folding method. Folded it. I probably should have videotaped it, but it's how you can wrap up gifts. And I ended up gluing parts of it so that they would stay to make this part of the book. If the back was not on, this would like be the front. And I didn't want the full page here, so I did end up cutting them off at angles, which I like. I like because it sort of gives a different thing. And if you see, there's some pencil lines on here, and those are for in the future for me to practice on. And once again, this is part of the way that Japanese wrapping method. And this is all pages that I can do the mending method on. It's all from an old t-shirt. And they're just tied in. And you can see that it's all one piece there, just the way it goes. And this also is a big, huge monster pocket. And I just put some papers in there from another set of those. What did I put in this front one? Oh, I put some extra jean fabric for doing visible mending if I needed to. And then I made this tie out of the silk sari stuff that I had, which is, I guess I don't use too much on this. It's actually this right here. And it's really old silk because there's a lot of holes in it. So you'll see pieces of it because I ended up having to use it in strips a lot. That's a big, huge monster belly band. I did cut out one of the dragonflies, and I do plan on embroidering around it. I just haven't done it, and I wanted to get this done. This is a piece of cardstock, really heavy piece of cardstock that I just put some embellishments on that can be used to hold fabric on and to mend on, or you would put pins around it to keep things flat. I just thought it would be good to have in here. Okay, on to this one's the big one. This is the one that makes it weird. I mean, and fat. This is the crazy quilt stitching, which I love crazy quilts. I love seeing everything that they do. So you'll see a lot of little things. This was something from Dear Julie, a printable. We had to make our little flowers, so there's one of my little flowers. This is from the roll that I had made. This is from a stamp that I have, and I made her have crazy hair. And I thought it was sort of funny because it says that ribbons comes in match sets, and then you turn it over and she has ribbons for her hair. You know, I like weird things. I had stamped on a bunch of the end pieces of a runner, table runner, with some Battenberg lace on it. Mostly just because I would be able to practice like a cross stitch or like making a knot on the zero patterns. So this is like a practice page. This right here is, I do plan on putting a skirt on this. That's a frame for a sewer's frame. Once again, one of those pieces of fabric that I made, or paper fabric, I guess. You can see that there's lots of different colors in there. So then you flip that one up. So that's 2 flip ups. This right here is a flip up and a place for you to write. And I just put it in on 2 pieces of fabric. So you could just cut those 2 pieces of fabric and take it out. And then these are some Gibson Girl things. So there's another flip out. This right here is different kinds of ladies' waistcoats. Another practice page. Another person that I may end up doing a funky hair design or something. This is a tuck right here, and I put the corner of a beautiful corner of a handkerchief on it, and then one piece of it's really heavy fabric that would be on your couch or something. So I thought that came out really cute because it's got multicolored blues and, you know. So there's 2 different girls on this, and I did have to go over some of it because it really didn't come out as nice. So I think I messed this girl up, but that's why she's facing the inside. And then this is a memo that you can write on, or I could do some more work on it. So that's a flip out. There's another girl with some things that I can do crazy quilts on the different corners, or, you know, around each thing. Another working page, but this one flips out this way. Another working page, that one flips out that way. Those actually can be cut out because I only did a couple pieces on the Battenberg lace, and those can be worked on as practice spots. We also had to make a tassel, so I put a tassel on that, but it's on the inside of coming up. So you sort of have to, this one and that one, and this one, then this one. Okay. So this flips open. I took a really pretty handkerchief and I folded it like this, and then I made it into quad pockets. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And actually these are little tiny pockets that you could put something, but I really didn't have anything that I could find to stick in there. This is a card that you would put embroidery floss on. This is a punch for a punch stitch kit that I got from the dollar spot in Target. This is another one of my made up cards. This stitching makes me so happy. That was something that I had gotten out of the stuff that I got at the thrift store, so I figured I'd put that in there. So that's the front. Now we're going to open it to the middle. The middle of this one, I used the purple, the cuff and the page. This right here opens up, but I did use a different button. I didn't like the buttons that were on this, so I did make my own buttonholes, and I used a vintage button. You can see that there's a chain to it. So these are pretty old. These are probably, these are definitely from an oyster or, you know, pearlescent thing. So this is an entire pocket itself. I put a card in here. These were from, can you hear Bruno snoring? He's right below my feet. This is from a sample, and once again I put one of those little things on it. I like to use the little pieces. I'm going to tip this up just a little bit so I can pull it back. What I did here is, because I have the worst problem with things coming, like if I put something like this in there and I slide something in, if I pick it up, it slides out and it ends up getting lost or whatever. So I did end up putting a belly band in here, and it works great actually to keep anything in. I did have something in there. Oh, I know, I stuck it in another spot. And this is a little tuck spot up here, just to add something extra, and that's another sample. This is actually what I had in there. So this right here is another pocket. This was from a pair of jeans that were little girls' jeans. What I did here is that this is from the orange shirt, but I had cut out the, when I had cut it out on the seams, it had made this little design, so I just stuck it on there. So if you put anything in here, it sort of gets caught up in there, so it won't, you know, fall out that way, because see, it gets stuck right there. So, and so there are two pockets here, but this is like a, I don't know, an extra thing so it won't fall out. And I did make, I used little books I already had and covered them, because when you're doing this kind of stitching, you do, if you want to do something new, you need to be able to write it down on grid paper or dot paper so you can figure it out. So I just made these little ones to go in here. This right here, to make the pocket on the back side, this is a tuck right here. This is another one of those girls' faces. This comes up and it's got a little thread on it, so you know where this is. And it's got a double tuck here because the girl can be a tuck, this can be a tuck, and that's a triple tuck, I guess. These are two more of my pieces that I made out of samples. Now you'll notice that there's nothing on the back here, and I did not put anything on the back here because this I plan on, oh, where'd my pen go? This I do plan on doing as a crazy quilt practice pages. So I did make it so I could take it out eventually and use the stuff on it. Here's a tuck here underneath. I put something there. This right here, you can put, I stuck that on and hung it into this little tiny pocket I have there. This is a pocket. I'll actually grab my pen. And you can see there's a loop here so that you can put a pen in here if you need to. So I did do that. I can't remember. There's a couple other places on here. I think that I made a loop or something. Once again, the back is not done because I do plan on being able to use it. This is the other side of the pockets, the kids' pants pockets. And what I've done here is that I actually made like a cage of fabric to hold things in on top, and you put them in and out that way, or if you needed to, you could go in that way. This is another one of my things that I made up. And then my other journal here is a dot journal with another ugly girl on the back. I do plan on sort of doing like hair and stuff. I think Mark didn't ready to feed the dogs, so you may hear them all run. This is one of the tassels we had to make. This is the big piece of Battenberg lace that I did use a vintage double button on to hold whatever's in this section down. This is a pocket that swings out. And I put some instructions in there just because I had to fill them all, and I did that hand stitching across there. This was one of the things that you could get at the dollar section in Target, and I just put it on a tag doubled the tag up and made that, and then I can use the stuff that I got to do this. That's another one of my little lace flowers I made, or flowers. This was a flip up that I found there, and then I just stuck something in there that I can use later on. So I really liked the idea of using the Battenberg lace as to sort of hold everything in. Okay, that was a huge one. So this is my paint with stitching. I made this button. These are flowers that I made. This, I think, I love this one because I love the edge, because those are all those little pieces that I had stuck together. So what I've done here is I used another piece of Battenberg lace to hold this down. This is actually piece that I painted, that once you paint it, you go and put, in fact, I'll pull it out. This is from one of my books that was already apart. It was just being held together by some of those rings. So I actually took the pages out and put it in here. So that eventually, hopefully, will be what it looks like. But you see how they added in all the stitching? And that's what it was supposed to look like. I don't know if it really does or not, but let's see. Pretty close. My interpretation of it. So those will, that actually is probably going to be what I'm going to work on first out of this. Once again, that sort of holds everything in. Here's another tuck spot with one of my things. This flips up. And what I've done here is that this was too thick to put any place, so I opened it up. But what this is, it's a little book that I made up, and it's got safety pins with embroidery floss wrapped around them, so that I have embroidery floss with this at all times. And I actually have a couple extra pages. So yeah, I did put that in flat in here because it was way too thick to put anywhere. This will go around it. Like, for instance, if I take that out and then take one of the other books, it can all be tied together with this. And on the back here, this was one that I stamped, and I do plan on doing embroidery on. But I really, for some reason, I love this little book here. This one is one of my favorites. So this is another one of practice cloth. That's from the piece of, from the skirt. This was actually the outside of the skirt, this lined. If you're wondering what I have to make those, all these little tags, is I have this Jimongo that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 numbers on it, or 12 spaces, so you can write out your own things. I actually like doing it this method than having things already done. And this right here is leather from what would be a leather couch. I did a corner tuck spot here that actually has some stamping on it, because when I did the stamping for the Battenberg lace, I didn't do it randomly, but I just went down, and if it happened to hit some of that, it's okay. There are a lot of pages in here. Whoops, I should probably show you this. Once again, it's like a traveler's journal. I used a piece of edging to make the traveler journal in and out. This is from the back of the leather, wasn't very pretty. So I used a handkerchief that had this really pretty little stitching on it, vintage. This is a belly band that I had stamped, and then I put a little flouncy thing here, so that holds it in too. This right here is sort of like a mandala that I colored, and you can put something up underneath it, underneath this, because I doubled that up. But this one's sort of cute too. I like that one too. Those were two of my last ones. And then this is the final page, which is the back. I have a flip here, which this is another one of those things that I did just out of the samples. And a flip can go there. There's also, there's a little pocket here. Is this one? I think this is another flip. This is a little flip taggy thing. And once again, I did not glue this down. I sort of left it because I may end up, you know, using this and cutting pieces off of it to use in other journals. So it's not really held in. I didn't use a very strong glue to hold this in. It will pop right out, and then this would become my back page. You can see all the stitching that I did for my back page behind it, so I did have to glue something down totally so that you wouldn't catch on it if I had it just plain. Once again, I used the edging that had the buttonholes on it, and this was a doily that was very old that I have had hanging around for a long time. A flower that I made, and I had slow stitched all of these on and put the flowers on it. Once again, because my favorite colors are orange and purple, which aren't used together very often. More flowers. But that's it for my fabric journal. I don't know how long this is so far. Oh, it's 40 minutes. See, I can't stop talking. The third thing we had to do for the journal, the project in the project, we had to make things on paper clips. So here's my bow on a paper clip. This is my doubled up paper or slide in paper clip. So you would put, there's one paper clip in there, you just slide it up in there. This is my tassel paper clip, and what I've done is I've wrapped a piece of the Battenberg lace on the top to hold it all together. So it sort of looks like it's wearing a little cape. And I just used, I mean, I have tons of little scraps left over from this, so I was using up what I had. This is a tab. Yeah, I just left the back plain. This is done with most of the two different kinds of jeans that I used, some of that paper fabric that I made in the orange. This is that stenciled fabric, some of the little tiny pieces of the embroidery flat fabric, and I had done a whole bunch of these little things, round dots with embroidery in them to stick throughout. So that was one that I actually didn't complete, but I put it on this one. Thought that was sort of cute. And this right here actually is also a paper clip, but it's got a little place where you can tuck something in and hold it, and then you could like just put it on your book. And this is all, I did make one piece of paper ephemera from Julie's stuff, but so that's that. And I think that's all. So right here, I hope you enjoyed going through my fabric journal. Once again, this is Dawn Marie with Creative DME Designs, and this was the February Fabric Journal Challenge with Dear Julie. Thanks, bye.